Hey guys, welcome back. In this one, we are going to model this skateboard. This is going to be the third one in the series. So if you haven't watched the first two ones, this one might be a little bit challenging to follow, so make sure to watch the first two episodes. By the way, you can find the scene file and the image planes that I will be using in this tutorial on the Discord server of the channel. You can find the link below. If you are ready, let's get into the tutorial. Firstly, I will click on the middle mouse, then go to the top view. I will click on the middle mouse again to make the top view full screen. Then I will hit Shift and V on the keyboard. This will open up the viewport attributes. I will come over to the back, click on the folder icon. We are in the top view, so I will select the top image. I usually increase up the transparency of the image plane. It just makes things easier to see through. Set this to 50. Now I will go to the front view and bring in the other image plane. By the way, if you lose the attributes of the viewport, you can hit Shift and V again. Click here and select the top. Select the front one as we are in the front view. I will set this to 50. Now we are good to go. My first object is going to be a cube. I will let this one in. I will go to the top view, adjust the size of the cube by dragging these points. Now let's go to the front view to adjust the thickness of the board. We got the raw shape. To move on, we need to make it editable so that I could go into polygon, edge, and point mode. Right now it is not possible because this is still a primitive object. So let's hit C on the keyboard. Now I will be able to do that, as you can see. The first thing I want to do is move up these endings. To do that, firstly, I will need to drop in some loop cuts on exactly where the change in the shape starts. So somewhere around here. I will right click, grab loop cut tool. Let's go to the 3D view. I will hold down shift, which will let that loop cut right in the middle of the mesh. Then I will set this to 2. I will exit the tool. I will select the scale tool. Let's go into edge mode. Double click on the loops and start to scale them on the X. This will evenly move these edges on the X. Let's go to the front view. Okay, this is looking perfect. Next up, we could select these points we want to move up, move tool, and move these up. Next up, let's work on the roundings. I will go into edge mode, select the edges that I want to round up, right click, bevel tool. Let's go to the top view. I suppose 2 subdivisions will be enough. I will apply the tool. I will continue until the edges in the middle touch. Perfect. Let me go into model mode and zoom in because I want to show you something. Notice the shading difference here. That edge is looking quite sharp. The reason is we have multiple edges or multiple points in the same place. If I go into point mode and move that point off, you will see what I am talking about. Unfortunately, bevel tool is not capable of merging these kind of points or edges. So let me show you how you can merge these points by hand. I will go into points mode first, select all the points, Ctrl A, right click and click on Optimize tool. Optimize tool will merge the points in the same place. Now we have a single point over here. Now I will start to correct the topology. If you watched the previous tutorial, you know exactly what I am talking about. We have these multiple n-gons, and we need to turn them into perfect quads. An n-gon is basically when a polygon has more than 4 points. In this case, that n-gon has 9 points. So let me go into points mode, right click and grab Polygonpen tool. What I am going to do is quite simple. I will just connect these matching points. Let's not forget the other side. By the way, let me turn off the work plane as it gets in our way. Once I have added these vertical edges, I will now add in these horizontal ones because I want to keep things as even as possible. Now the bottom parts, Okay, now I will let these edges in. By the way, Polygon pen tools sometimes go crazy like that. If that happens, just exit the tool, hit escape, select another tool, right click, and start to add these edges in again. That should fix it. Perfect, now we have got all quads, but we can improve it. I will drop in a loop right in the middle. Then I will start to increase up the polygons. Tree is looking perfect. This is going to give us that straight cut in the middle of the mesh. This is parallel to the world, as you can see. Now let's drop this cube under a subdivision surface. I'm going to hold down Alt and click on subdivision surface. I will turn this off because before getting into that part, we need to straighten out the edges. As you saw, I added these edges in the middle with the polygon pen tool manually, so these are not straight. If I go to the top view, you will see what I am talking about. These edges are important because this is the middle of the mesh. This edge loop along the Z is looking perfectly fine, but these ones are not. So let me show you how to straighten out these uneven edges. I will just double click on the edge loop. Then I will open up the coordinate manager. These are facing the Z axis. So I will come over here and first I will zero out the position of these edges. Click, zero, hit enter. But it is not going to be enough because we need to zero out the size of these edges as well. So I will come over here and zero out that value as well. Now if I go to the top view, you will see that these are perfectly straight. Now I will enable subd, or let me turn this off and select the edges that I want to sharpen up. I will just hold down shift and double click on these sharp edges. Enable subd, right click, bevel tool. I will go into solid mode and bevel these edges. I want something smooth, so I will increase up the offset. I will click off, and here we go, looking perfect. I will just add in a few loops just to make these parts a little bit, tighter. So let's hit Q, right click, loop cut tool. Let's do that in the front view. I will drop this one here and this one here. Now we have the last detail that we need to add into the board. There is a panel cut right around here. Yeah. So I will right click, grab loop cut tool, and hit this one somewhere around here. Once I have done that, I will go into polygon mode. I will hit V, select, and grab loop selection tool. Now, right click, extrude tool, and extrude these in. I will hit Q, check the mesh, looks fine. Maybe we could add some additional loop cuts, like here. Right click, loop cut tool, add these two loops. Perfect. The board is ready. I'm going to call this board. Our next goal is to model these yellow parts. So let's add in a cube. I will move it over here and adjust the size of this cube. Now let's go to the 3D view. That seems fine. Now I will make it editable. You know the reason. I will go into edge mode, right click, and I will drop in a loop cut right in the middle. Once I have done that, I will select the move tool, double click on that edge. It is going to select the whole loop. Then I will bevel these edges. Let's adjust the offset. Nice. Now I will go into polygon mode. I will select the move tool, hold down shift and select these two polygons. I'm going to hold down control and move these polygons down. Now we will need an extra loop cut right around here, just like what we did on the board. I'm going to add that loop somewhere around here. This is where the change starts. Then I will grab rectangle selection tool, select these points, then move them. Perfect, we got the rough shape. Now I will drop this one under the subdivision surface. It is going to only subdivide the object below the subdivision surface. So to subdivide them both, I need to group them. To do that, I will select all the objects that I want to group, then hit Alt and G on the keyboard. There is also an alternative way to do that. You come over here and add a null to the scene, then you drop this one under the subdivision surface and you drop these objects under the null. Now let's select the cube and right click, grab the loop cut tool because I want to sharpen some edges. Like these ones, that one, and that one. I'm going to add this one as well to tighten up that area even further. I will click off, zoom out. Okay, looks pretty fine to me. Now to duplicate this object, I will hold down Control and move it on the X. Now I will select the rotate tool, start to rotate the object, then I will hold down Shift, and I will stop at 180 degrees. Next up, the other part of the mechanism, which is not visible in any of these image planes, but don't worry, I will show you exactly what to do. This part is going to be quite simple and interesting. Now let's add in a cube. I'm going to move it to the center of the wheel and hit T, or you can grab it from this icon, just click on it, scale it down. Then I will go to the 3D view. I'm going to move that point. Okay, now I will make it editable. Hit C, because I want to drop in some loops. I will go into Edge mode, right click, loop cut tool, Alt and Shift, add this one to the middle. I will set this to 2. Then I will go into polygon mode, move tool. I will delete these polygons or caps. Then drop this cube under the null. Notice the change in the shape. Subdivision surface will basically turn this cube into a cylinder. By the way, let's see the wireframes. I will come over here and enable this option, or you can hit NNB on the keyboard. To go back, just hit NNA. I always use this together, NNB and NNA. This is a nice and quick way to get cylinders. It also makes it easier to manipulate the shape because we have a few polygons. And this is exactly what I am going to do here. I will select a polygon, hold down Control and move it up. Once I have done that, I will delete the selected polygon because we don't want any caps. Delete it and enable subdivision surface. Now I will select the cube, go into edge mode, double click on that edge loop, scale tool. I will start to scale that edge loop down, but I will hold down Shift. This is going to snap the scale amount. I will stop at 70%, apply the same amount of scale on that edge loop. Double click, start the scale, then hold down Shift and stop at 70%. Now let's do the same thing on top edges. Double click. It is hard to see, so maybe we could enable the solo mode. Start to scale in. I'm sorry. First, I should turn off subdivision surface. Otherwise, solo mode will not work. I don't know why. So I'm going to hit Ctrl Z, turn this off, start to scale, then hold down Shift and stop at 70%. Let's turn this off and enable subdivision surface. I will just move this down over here. And maybe we could scale this on the Z. I will go into polygon mode, select these polygons and scale them on the X, just to make the shape a little bit interesting, you know. Okay, we got the mechanism. Now I will duplicate it to the other side. Hold down Control, move it to the right. Next up, we are going to model the wheels. Bring in a cylinder because this is the most similar primitive that I could add to the scene to model the wheel. I will change the orientation and move it to the center of the wheel in the image plane. Scale it down. Then let's work in the 3D view. Okay, seems fine. Now I will just make the cylinder editable because we need to play with the polygons or the edges of this cylinder. Hit C. I will go into polygon mode. I'm going to hold down right mouse and select these polygons. Then let's go to the front view. I will make an inset. Then I will hold down Control and move these polygons on the Z. But remember to hold down Control. I'm sorry, I forgot to launch the keystroke thing that you see whenever I hit the keys. So hold down Control and move these on the Z. I will do something similar on the other side. Let's go into polygon mode again and grab the move tool. Hold down right mouse and select these polygons. Inset. Hold down Control and move these on the Z. I will drop this wheel under the subdivision surface. Click off. Let's hit NNA. Or we can come over here and select this one at the top. Obviously, we need to add in some loops to adjust the shape. So right click, loop cut tool. I'm going to add this one right around here and the other one here. We can either drop in that in or we can use the existing one, that loop. So let's go into edge mode, double click on the loop and move it on the Z. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, double click on the loop, move it. Then I will drop in another loop. Even though this part is not going to be that visible, I just don't want to ignore it completely. Next up, I will hide the subdivision surface. I will double click on that top light. Okay, it seems like we will be just fine if I split out these polygons. No need to add in another primitive. So right click and select these polygons, then split them out. I will only scale these polygons down, then move tool, hold down Control, move these out. Another inset, hold down Control, move these out. Then another one. This time I will move these on the Z. I believe I skipped one inset, so I will hit Control Z, inset tool, one more time. Now I will move the Z. Nice. Now let's enable sub-D. Obviously, we need to edit Sharpening Edges to tighten up some edges. So loop cut tool, start to add these ones in. Click off. Check the shape from different angles. Looks quite fine to me, which means that we can start to duplicate this wheel around. So select the cylinder. I will hold down shift because I want to duplicate that thing in it. So hold down shift, select this one as well. Then let's go to the front view, hold down control, and move these to the right. Now I will do the same thing on the other side. I will hold down control, move these on the Z, rotate tool, start to rotate, then hold down shift, and stop at 180 degrees. And move it on the Z. Now I will hold down control and move these on the X. To align these two wheels, I will come over to the front view, enable snap option, and slightly move that wheel to the center point of the other wheel. Now all these wheels are perfectly aligned. Now let's enable the SAMD. Perfect. Lastly, I will model these screws on the board. To do that, let's add in a cylinder. I will go to the top view. We can hide the skateboard for now. I will position it here, then scale it down. Let's adjust the height. Now I will come over here and enable wireframe mode. 16 is going to be too much, obviously, for such a small piece. So I will set this to 8. And we can also remove the height segments. Now, let's hit C on the keyboard to make this cylinder editable. I will go into polygon mode, select all these polygons by holding right mouse, move these down. I will turn off the snap option. Now I will go into point mode, select the point in the middle and move it up. I will drop this one under the subdivision surface we are working on. Unhide the object. I will go into model mode and move this up. I will go into edge mode. I want to get rid of these diagonal edges. Right click and click on dissolve. Let me turn off the subdivision surface and do it one more time. If I dissolve out these diagonal edges, I will have all quads. Right click, dissolve. Next step, we could move that up a little bit more, then our best friends loop cut tool and add these edges in. Maybe that was too much. I will move that down. Okay, let's go into model mode and start to duplicate these around. Hold down control, move it to the left, then select the other one. I will turn off subdivision surface, hold down shift, select the other one, go to the top view, hold down control and move these on the Z. Now I will select all the screws and hold down control and move these to the right. Perfect. Let's enable subdivision surface. I will set this to the default shading. Perfect. Next step, we can start to organize the object manager. Let's turn this off. Firstly, select these screws, hold down shift. I will come over here to the object manager, right click on these objects and click on connect objects and delete. I'm going to call these screws. Next up, I'm going to select that one and that one by holding shift, right click, connect objects and delete, move it up. I'm going to call this mech 01. Next up, I will select these two, right click, connect objects and delete, move it up, mech 02. For the wheels, I will just group these two objects because you may want to animate them independently. So instead of merging them into a single object, I will keep them separately. This one and this one. Right click, hit Alt and G. I will rename that to wheel 01. Then this one, select these two objects, Alt and G, move it up. I'm going to double click on the name of this null, copy it, paste it over, wheel O2. Next, these guys, Alt and G, move these up, double click on the name, Control V, wheel 3, and lastly, Alt and G, Control V, and 4. Now I will check the normals of these objects. Let's start with the screws. I will select object, then go into polygon mode. Let's zoom in. I will hit Control A. This one is okay. Next up, macro 1, Control A. This is also okay. Then this one. This is also okay. I'm going to select this, Control A. This one is also perfect, which means that I don't need to check the other ones because this is the original wheel. Then the board, Control A, and perfect. Next up, I will select the top now and call this skateboard. Then I will add in a cube as a reference. I'm going to change the size of this cube to something reasonable. Let's go to the top view, and for the X size, I suppose we need something like 100 centimeters. Once I have done that, I will select the skateboard. I will select the scale tool and start to scale down until it fits in the cube. I'm just trying to adjust the size of this skateboard to the real world. Let's check out the topology. I will enable this option. Seems perfect. Let's go back. The only thing I want to change is the position of these loops on the board. It seems too tight, so I will double click on these ones, hit Q, and scale these edges on the X. Yeah, now looks a little bit smoother. This is going to be it from this tutorial. If you have any questions or if you run into any problems, you are very welcome to join up the Discord server of the channel. You can find the link below. Also, the image planes and the scene file of this tutorial will be on the server as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next ones. Bye.